Hi, I am Jamie Nabar, and this is week 7 recorded assignment. And I'm going to apologize in advance. I have my notes kind of behind the camera. So I may be doing a little bit of clicking and looking back to read those. So the first thing we're going to talk about here is stages of change. The stages of change model describes how an individual or organization integrates new behaviors, goals, and programs at various levels. At each stage, different intervention strategies will help individuals progress to the next stage and through the model. So the 5 stages of change are pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. Pre-contemplation stage is the first stage. People are thinking seriously, people are not thinking seriously about changing and are not interested in any kind of help. People in this stage defend their current bad habits, and they don't feel that they have a problem or that what they're doing is a problem. They may be defensive of other people, talking about them having a problem or needing to change. The contemplation stage is the second stage. It's where people are kind of going back and forth. They're weighing the pros and cons of modifying their behavior. Although they think the negative aspects of their bad behavior and positives, they, my notes are bad here. They are weighing the negatives and the positives. And sometimes the negatives aren't quite enough yet to push them over into thinking that they need to make that positive change. So that's kind of where the teeter-totter is. They're going very back and forth on that. And they definitely are thinking that the long-term benefits of changing are so far in the future that they're not really pushing them over the edge to think that it's worth it to make that long-term change. So the preparation stage is the third. People have made a commitment to change at this point. Their motivation for changing is kind of determined by the things that they're saying, such as, I've got to do something about this. This is getting serious. Something has to change. And what can I do? Those are all statements that you might hear from somebody in the preparation stage. This stage in my reading has also been referred to as the research phase. They gather information, sometimes through reading things on the internet or talking to various people, but they're going to research what they can do and about what they will need to do to change their behavior. Again, internet, different organizations or websites, these all can help someone in that stage. But I also read that sometimes people can try to kind of attempt to skip this stage. They try to move directly from contemplation into action. And so that isn't beneficial because they tend to fail. For lack of a better word, they fail. They need to adequately research what's going to happen, accept what is going to happen, and have really a plan and idea of what is going to happen to make that major lifestyle change. So action is the next stage. This is a stage where people are motivated to change. They've done the research, they're taking steps to change their behaviors, and they can be trying a number of different techniques to facilitate that change. This can be a fairly short stage. The amount of time that any person spends in each phase varies, but just from what I was reading is that sometimes this can be a very short stage. In this stage, people depend mostly on their own willpower. They're making hard and wonderful efforts to change their behaviors, but because of that, they're also at the greatest risk for relapse in this stage. Mentally, they can review their commitment to themselves and develop plans to deal with both personal and external pressures that may lead to slips during this stage. And they may use short-term rewards to sustain their motivation. So I have done this with myself, not on a substance abuse type thing, but even just a day-to-day, we kind of coach ourselves through things like, if I can just get through XYZ, then I'm going to get myself an ice cream later. So we all have kind of examples of things like that in an action phase. So then maintenance involves being successful in avoiding temptations to return to what is the bad habit. The goal of the maintenance stage is kind of to maintain sobriety. People in this stage remind themselves how much progress they have made. They constantly reformulate the rules of their lives and are acquiring new skills to deal with life and avoid relapse. So this, again, is just the stage in which they are figuring out what their new normal is. They have gone through probably what is the hardest parts of overcoming their addiction, but being that it is a lifelong battle, the maintenance stage is forever, essentially. They're coming up with those coping techniques and how they're going to live their life within the parameters that they have set for themselves. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that here. So let me move down. So, the next one was 5 motivational techniques, and I may have misunderstood this one because what I came up with was actually only 4, and it was based on the acronym RULE. So this was 5 motivational techniques, and I did RULE, resisting the writing reflex, understanding the patient's own motivations, listening with empathy, and empower the patient. These are used to make sure that the client knows that they are in charge of their own journey. They are in power, that they empower themselves, so that they know that they are the facilitator of the rest of their lives. And it's not just us trying to coax them into this way or that way, or, this is what's best for you, so this is what you need to do. These are the types of techniques used in substance abuse counseling that really are going to kind of set us apart from people who are maybe not doing it so right. And we'll make mistakes for sure. Especially I think for myself, resisting the writing reflex, it is very easy to fall into, well, this is what you need to do, but we need to take that step back. And I think this is why I chose RULE, because this is not about us, not about what we think is best, not about anything to be self-serving. This is about our patients, our clients, and pushing them in the right directions. So I'll move forward from that. But the next thing to talk about is resisting change and how that can be used in educating people about their substance abuse. And I found this little excerpt and I really liked it. It said, people resist change because they fear the consequences. And I thought that is so true. It doesn't matter if it's a positive consequence or a negative consequence. Like, you quit drinking, you get a lot of positive consequences out of that, right? Like, You are no longer putting your health at risk. Maybe your relationships improve. Maybe your finances improve. But it's still a change. So it's still something that people are fearful of. So I thought that was a really good thing to remember going into this. People resist change because they fear the consequences. Change means learning new habits and facing new situations, learning new skills, and that comes with uncertainty, and being able to master new skills. It's easy to see why change can seem threatening. And I think this is especially important to remember in the things that we are doing, because this isn't just, I'm going to start eating more apples or things like that. This is a major lifestyle change to what some of these people are coming from. I think understanding change is hard and scary and is very important in helping through the process. However, I think it plays a really important role because it gives us as clinicians the opportunity to talk about what fears people might have and what may be holding someone back. It also is a great way that we can encourage change talk. And change talk is defined as statements by clients revealing consideration of, motivation for, or commitment to change. In motivational interviewing, the therapist seeks to guide the client to expressions of change talk as the pathway to change. So essentially, we're going to talk through these things, and through that, people are going to come up with goals and fears and things like that we can talk about. But during that, they're going to be talking about change, and as a result, they're going to be facilitating their own change by themselves just by us encouraging them through that. And lastly, it gives us a really good opportunity to come up with ways to put those goals into action. So the next thing we're talking about here is motivational interviewing. And motivational interviewing is a type of therapy that focuses on exploring and resolving ambivalence and centers of motivational processes within the individual that facilitate change. So that is a definition that I just pulled off the internet. However, it really does kind of explain it just in kind of like a wordy way. Motivational interviewing essentially is a therapy that focuses on getting over your fears of those changes, and then furthering that, like putting those changes into action. So some advantages of motivational interviewing include, and I just listed 5. We only had to list 1, I guess, but I was actually worried I wasn't going to have a long enough video, and I'm at 13 minutes. So advantages of motivational interviewing include it increases participation in treatment, so it's kind of interactive. Changes high risk lifestyle behaviors. I mean, that's always the goal, right? It can build self-confidence because their treatment is up to them. So when they can see that they are making those positive changes, it really helps them to build that self-worth that I can do this. Build self-confidence. Same thing. They are doing it for themselves. So this is really important. People become more self-reliant and responsible for the change. Again, ties into all of that. And then increases confidence of health professionals in their communication with patients. So since we kind of have like a guideline of what we're supposed to go through, right? We're not flying by the seat of our pants. Like motivational interviewing is a set skill here. And then some disadvantages of motivational interviewing. It takes time to build relationships. And so sometimes in these things, we're jumping right in, and we may need a little bit more time to build with a client. It needs a certain degree of cognitive clarity and motivation. In the early stages, I could see where this would be a problem because, again, we talked about those stages of change, and not everyone in therapy or counseling or any of that is to that point yet. They may not be in the action phase. They may be still totally ambivalent towards this, but they don't have a choice but to be there. So that definitely could be a thing. One size does not fit all. We've talked about this 1,000 times. Everyone is different. So while motivational interviewing might work for one, it doesn't work for someone else. Follow-up is crucial. Yes, follow-up is crucial. So continuing to go to these things and to work towards something when it's hard and like when you're maybe feeling like you're failing for a time, I can see that being a problem too. And then it also requires patient engagement and awareness. And again, sometimes people don't have a lot to give at any given time. And so having to go and give a lot of yourself, maybe not just listen to someone talk or listen to a group talk, can be really hard for some people. So I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'm excited for weeks to come learning more about this and being able to help others.